Alrighty guys, so welcome back to This Is 100. Today we did a little like photo album story time, which will kind of prep us for a video that we're wanting to do very shortly. But we talked a lot about what kind of stuff did you show me in the video? Just kind of like old family photos.
Well, it seems I'm not very organized, but I knew that. And it's very evident when you look at an album of mine.
Right.
Because we covered about 3 generations in
Yep.
3 pages.
Exactly.
And then you go back and forth.
Yeah, it's like newborn babies, and then it's like they're fully grown, and then it's their grandchildren, and then back to when they were teens. So it's cool though, because it's kind of all over the place,
But it reminds me of some stories that can be told, and some that can't be told.
Some that can't be told, some secrets. So we can't put everything out there. So
I don't know whether I still have time to get organized or not.
Nah, why not? It's been working this way for you. Don't worry about it.
Works.
Exactly.
Works.
Exactly.
If it doesn't, you're going to find another direction.
Yeah. Something you said while we were, you were showing me some stuff is you said, well, this one might just get thrown away after I die because nobody's going to be interested in it.
I forget what that one was.
We were looking at the Guatemala mission trip album.
Oh, the album. Yeah.
Which I find that stuff so interesting. It's so much. I'm not speaking English. I find that stuff so interesting. Those mission trips that you took and all the stories you tell.
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was. Yeah.
So we are going to do videos on that too. So
okay.
So we're going to do, because even if it gets thrown away, then at least there'll be a video to remember it with. Okay. But so we're going to kind of probably do a series, like a series in the series where we'll be going through photo albums because there's some really interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, actually there is some I had forgotten.
Yeah, and it sparks up memories.
I enjoyed it too.
So we did a video on Big Pop, my Big Pop, your husband, John C. Walker. And I think next week we're going to try to do a video on your mother, who I called Grandma Smith. And what was her full legal name?
Her name was Irma Bayless. Bayless was her middle name. And Smith was her married name.
Her married name. What was her maiden name?
Bayless.
Bales. So Irma Bales Smith.
S.
All right. So that's who we're going to do a video on next week.
Okay.
And we're going to kind of go over some stuff with her, show some pictures. There were some beautiful pictures you have of her that we didn't get any, so that'll be exciting. Mm-hmm. And then
she was beautiful.
She was very beautiful.
But she had a beautiful personality.
I know.
That's what, everyone speaks so fondly of her.
Yeah.
As I told you, I really can't remember that she ever did anything wrong. She just seemed to handle everything, but
appropriately.
Yes.
Do you think Jeff would mind if we read that letter that he wrote?
No, not at all.
Because I think I hear your son, my grandfather Poppy, talk about her very kindly all the time, and I hear you talk very fondly of her all the time.
And Jeff is one of her biggest admirers.
Yeah.
He was her grandson, my sister's son.
Yeah, and he had a letter in there that he had written that I think.
Yes, that would be good.
I think we should put that in there too, because it was very tear jerking, very heartfelt. It was. I feel like it nailed it, just her personality and how you guys spoke about her. So stay tuned, and we'll talk about that next week. Thank you so much. Keep staying tuned, because now we're going to play the videos of some of the photo album footage, and then we will talk to you next week. All right?
Okay.
See ya.
I'm ready. There they are.
Cute.
I think she was the Everglades for their feathers.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was like considered poaching and stuff? Or
that must have been. Because they certainly have the feathers going.
Right. So this one right here was your grandmother, your mother's mother.
Yes.
And that was your mother's sister. So Olive and Pearl. What was Grandma Smith's first name?
Irma.
Irma. I don't know if I ever knew that because I always just call her Grandma Smith, you know?
That's right. You probably didn't.
Yeah. I wonder if the kids think that about you, like if they even know what your name is. You know
No,
what I
I
mean?
don't think they do.
Right.
If somebody called me Vera, they would figure somebody wasn't there.
Right. And then,
This is the harbor picture again.
and this is like where you grew up?
Yes, and right about here, I believe, was the Nehemiah Hand shipyard.
Mm-hmm.
And Nehemiah Hand was also a relative of my mother's, but I forget exactly. I think he was a relative by marriage
Right.
to one of the Bayless girls.
What was the river?
Nehemiah Hand was the man that built the shipyard
Okay.
on the in Setauket Harbor.
Setauket Harbor.
But the big Bayless shipyards were in Port Jefferson, the next town.
And your dad owned.
No, that was another story.
Okay.
This was a relative of my mother's.
Okay.
I think possibly an uncle.
Okay. What are these? History, Three Village enters the 20th century.
The three villages are Setauket, Stony Brook, and Port Jefferson.
Okay.
And that's a picture of the rubber factory. That's how some of my family ended up in Connecticut, because when the rubber factory closed in Setauket,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people went to Beacon Falls, Connecticut,
Okay.
to where a rubber factory already existed.
Because that was like a workforce.
Yes, I think the Setauket rubber factory was more or less a branch of, it was U.S. Rubber, as we know it. And they made, I think they made tires because automobiles were just arriving. And
That's so neat.
later, in my day, they made sneakers with the rubber soles.
Wow.
And when I went to visit my Aunt Maud in Connecticut, we would go to the rubber factory and paw through the seconds for our size in sneakers, which we got for a nominal price.
So that's crazy to think that like sneakers, you know, like that's
Nope.
something you've seen like evolved, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
True.
the evolution
Yeah, I
of
don't
shoe,
think we do
you
rubber
know?
anymore.
Right. And who are these people?
Well, these are my mother and father,
Yep.
my sister and I, and this was 1974. We went on a cruise together.
Aww.
Yeah.
You know, that is how I remember Grandma Smith.
Yeah,
Like I feel like she looks
This
very
was
that's my memory of her.
Mhm.
That's how she looks.
this was 1974. You were born in 89,
Uh-huh.
but still, yes.
Close. Not quite. And then when
Don't you think I look a lot like my mother?
hold on.
Maybe not in that picture so much.
I do think you look I do. I think Aunt Claire looks a lot like your mom too.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
feel like
she-
you guys look like I feel like you look a lot like your dad, honestly.
I always thought so growing up, that I looked more like my dad, but
Yeah, I feel like you look like your dad and Aunt Claire
It's
looks
okay.
like your mother, but
Well, that's-
you do look a lot like your mother. Like you have your dad's head shape and you have his
Mm-hmm.
like very like high cheeks, like you have like very like especially in this picture too cuz you're, you know, younger, but you have those like cheekbones and stuff where your mom and Aunt Claire have very like sharp features.
Where's that?
But you do. And then when did your dad pass? Because this is in 1974, and I was born
He died in 1981.
81.
And then
So 7 years after this picture.
some of the happiest days of my life, and I think hers too, was having my mother live with me for 11 years after my dad passed away.
So she moved in with you in 81 then. And she didn't pass till 94? 92.
This, yeah, wait, there's some better ones here. Ooh. Okay,
That's the same picture.
This is my mother's sister, Claire.
How many sisters did she have?
2. There were 3 girls.
Okay. So she had no brothers.
And from what I knew of Claire, although she died young, I think she was in an automobile accident and died after that. And her husband was killed. And that would have been around 1925.
Look at how beautiful her eyebrows are.
Yeah. Well, that's where I got, because my eyebrows were perfect until they turned gray.
Her eyebrows are perfect. I know.
I never had to pluck them or
I know.
anything.
That's something you're so self-conscious of now that they're gray, which I still think you have beautiful brows. You're still very beautiful. You've aged very nicely, Granny.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now this is my grandfather, my mother's father.
Okay. I feel like
I just don't know how to describe him. I think he must have been very spoiled. He was an only child.
Oh, okay.
And he was quite the sport. I don't think he ever had to work very hard until he got older.
Really?
And the shipyards failed because after the shipyards were famous for their whaling ships. There's the picture there on the top. That's the Hector.
That one right there is the Hector.
That's the Hector, and it was one of the last ships built.
So your mother's
Mother's
father, and then his wife, his mother, your mother's mother, they took over the shipyards?
No.
No.
He just enjoyed the income. And he was known as I think he was a gambling man.
Okay.
We didn't see a lot of him because he had married again.
Okay.
And, well, we just didn't see a lot of them. Let's leave it at that.
That's a good way to leave it.
But I always pictured him as very vain. I can tell you a couple funny stories.
Okay.
Let me think about it. Well, one of them was much later. Johnny was about 10 years old, and we made a trip to Florida for vacation, and we went to see my grandfather. Well, when we got there, he was playing shuffleboard with a group of friends.
Okay.
And he said to them, I have to leave. He said, some friends have come to see me. He would never acknowledge that he had a grandchild 10 years old. But before that, when we were growing up, my sister and I would call him Grandpa, and we were instructed that we should call him Pa.
Oh.
So obviously he didn't want to be a grandpa. I guess.
Yes, his age was important to him.
This is another picture of my Aunt Claire. But then, and I love this picture. The hairdo is just unbelievable.
It's beautiful. That is beautiful. So that is Grandma Smith, as we all
Grandma
called her.
Smith. Oh, and I must tell you about her hair. She must have had beautiful hair.
Yes.
And it reached below her waist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it must have been a chore, but then that's the way women wore their hair in those days, long and in a bun or whatever. Well, it came about probably around 1929 when the flopper era came around, and women started getting what they called bobs. In other words, they had all their hair lopped off. Or just, and I forget the whole story, who she might have been with, but she had her hair cut into a bob.
Oh, no.
And my father was furious.
Was he? I bet.
Well, let's say disappointed.
That's a good word.
He was in shock.
Shock. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm sure he loved their hair. I have a theory that men love long hair, whether it's becoming to you or not.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So,
Who's this little cutie?
well, that's Mr. Captain Trey Dietz.
Yep, it is.
He was.
Oh, I feel like I'll always remember him that way.
He was a co-ring bearer.
Yes. That's always how I remember Trey Boy.
Yep.
Oh, look at that little smirk.
I love that.
Yes.
Smirk.
Still same personality. I hope you see this, Yuli. Oh, such a cutie. Oh, look at him. Kelly
Kelly.
loves her boys. I feel like that just captures her love so great. So cute.
So,
Oh, mischievous, Mr. Sir. So cute. I feel like this is at this house, isn't it?
yeah.
It looks like that's
Yeah.
your pillar, and that looks like
it
the
was,
lot.
It was finished in 1998.
Crazy.
Now we go.
Oh. You know, who does that look like? That looks like Hannah. A big Hannah smile. Doesn't that look like Hannah?
Yeah, that smile. That's my sister Claire.
Isn't that a big old Hannah smile? And that's you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how old do you think you are there? 6?
Probably
Oh,
about 5 or 6.
that is so cute with your
The bridges.
socks and the little ruffles. So cute. I love that picture. So adorable.
I don't know. Oh, that's my cousin Ellen from South Dakota. So
Mm,
she's half Indian.
she looks half Indian. She's got that, like, Indian face. Is that
That's
you?
my baby picture.
Aww. Look, see, you always say you're born an optimist, and that looks like you were born an optimist.
Why do you say that?
Because you just look so happy. Look like you're a happy little baby.
I'm happy.
I love it. So cute. Trey, when you used to race.
Yeah.
Or is that Paul?
I don't.
Probably
I really
Paul.
can't tell.
No, I think that's Paul, because it's in 2000. Trey wouldn't have been that big in 2000. He might have.
I don't know.
He's crossing the finish line.
These are